Hi, everyone. I'm here today to look at hiring. Hiring is the first challenge for any organization. And in the chapter 2 of the book, you will notice that we have covered, Ruben has covered extensively the hiring challenges, the role of benchmarking in hiring, and the interviewer bias. So this is all the theory that has been covered, before we are moving on to the analytics. And but I'm here to talk about the analytics. So I'm going to take you to the case study now, where we would actually look at real life data and how to solve it using Excel and the Decova and I process. The case study that we're covering here is hiring through numbers using hands-on Excel. And we are going to be looking at this particular organization called Adya Retail. It has a strong network of 1,000+ brand stores across the country, and it is present across 5,000 multi-brand outlets. Every year, they pick up 40 to 50 MBA freshers at a deputy manager level for their brand stores. These people often rise through the ranks and become business leaders in a time frame of 12 to 15 years. So this fresher hiring process is extremely important because it's also a source of future leaders for the organization. So today, when you look at the organization in the AVP and above levels, 40% of the employees have joined the organization at a deputy manager level. So the CHRO wants to execute a project to understand if they can recruit more freshers from the right attributes, right? More freshers who have these right attributes to succeed at Adya Retail. And success here is defined as in the next decade or so, the person should rise from a deputy manager level to becoming an AVP or above. So for this, the analytics team pulled out the data of 40 deputy managers of the previous year and their performance. And then they looked at this time-based cohort to focus on the latest trends in the data. So now let's look at the data that they got. Here on the screen, you can see the Excel sheet with the data that exists. So this is the data for about 40 employees, their performance scores. Okay, so as you've understood that these are the deputy managers who were recruited last year. So their performance scores, and then for certain attributes and competencies, their scores in the hiring tests. Okay. So here you will notice that there are these competencies are achieving goals and objectives, team player qualities, meeting expectations, values, systems and adherence, workplace management, managing and organizing, enterprising qualities, analysis and interpretation, people management, inductive reasoning, deductive reasoning, abductive reasoning, and verbal reasoning. So incidentally, see, this data comes from the competency tests at PEXI test. I have a huge clarity on what each of these competency means. And one more thing that got mapped was the location of the candidates. So you will notice that the candidates were from multiple locations, and these were the candidates who were at different levels of performance. So they are from multiple locations, and their performance scores are 3, 4, and 5. So they are generally at a high level of performance, at least a middle to high. So we have already spoken of the fact that all our case studies we solve in the Decova and I format. So here you will notice that I have kept a summary sheet where I have sort of, I'm clocking whatever I'm doing so that I get a flow, right, of the project, which I can present to people. And along with the data that we got here, there is also a data dictionary, which is nothing but the metadata or the data about the data. Okay. So here you can see that this is the dictionary where we come to know what is each variable in this data set that exists, right? Now, we can, of course, access this data when we buy the book. There is also a link to access the data which comes through. So go ahead and order the book. Else, you can, of course, see how I'm solving the problem here and, look at it as a learning video. So what we have now is the problem statement, which if you want to summarize, it looks like this, that the company wants to analyze if talent assessment scores during hiring process for deputy managers can be linked to future job performance. So we have actually given the exact requirement or problem statement out here. Now, what are the what is the framework for definition? Data management managers are deputy managers, deputy managers are management trainees from MBA colleges. They have 40 deputy managers in the last year's batch. They have assessed these 40 deputy managers on the competencies at the point of recruitment through talent assessments, and they want to link quantitative assessment outputs and performance appraisal results so that they can conclude that if there are some attributes or some competencies which can be identified very early on, which can be linked to future performance. Correct? So with this, I'll break the video, and in the next video, we'll start with solutioning.